Friday, September 11th. We've only got another half a dozen days to count down. Fed has a 2-day meeting next week at about midday Thursday, depending on the time zone that you're in. We'll find out whether the Fed's finally gotten off the dime and added 0.25% to the overnight cost of money, or whether it's back to Groundhog Day. I don't know anybody who's got a lock on this thing. The arguments are, with an unemployment rate as low as this one, sooner or later wages are going to go up and inflation risk is going to rise. Now, there isn't any sign of either of those things right now, and there may not be for years, but the Fed is at zero. Zero's artificially low. Zero's designed for a flat-out emergency, and we're no longer in a flat-out emergency. So I'm in the group that would just as soon Cherry Ellen got this over with. Go ahead, throw a 1/4 point grenade over the wall, see what happened. See if there's anything on the other side of the wall. All of this nervousness about the damage that might be done. I mean, any human being on this planet who's not prepared for the Fed to tighten by a 1/4 point just hadn't been paying attention. The big deal is not what the Fed does or doesn't do Thursday. It's what it says about what it's going to do next and how soon. And that will take time to unfold no matter what the Fed does. But the U.S. economy is really okay. It's not hot. It's probably not going to be hot, but it's okay. In the copy next to this video is a rundown on the outside world. And I didn't touch all bases. I didn't mention the banking recovery that's underway in Ireland, or the one that's actually in place in Iceland. There must be another bright spot out there someplace. No, slips the mind. A rundown of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which used to be the world's leading emerging nations and are now unanimously submerging. The tough part of what's going on overseas is we are used to cyclical behavior, where the world rolls along, goes into a dark spot, and then it comes out of it. And what's disturbing about the news from overseas is the structural trouble is what appears to be in place. An awful lot of the world was relying on a growth rate in China that was going to continue, and now it's not, and it's not going to be back. And so they're overexposed at the same time, and when the sun was shining, they didn't make hay. They especially didn't put any hay away. So if the Fed doesn't move next week, wouldn't surprise me, even if they do move, if mortgage rates stay the same or even drift lower. There's a lot of frightened money in the world, and U.S. markets look pretty good to the world, and so does the dollar, and both of them should. So I wouldn't be fearful about next Thursday, but you got to be there. You got to be near, one of those infernal phone devices that you kids have midday on Thursday, and see what happens to markets in the world when the Fed makes its announcement. There may be some amusement value in it, but I suspect not a hell of a lot of financial value. Best to you all. Good weekend.